Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And this is part 2 of the Ration Goulash comparison. And bringing up the chat on my screen, on my tablet, so that I can read it. Just got to get past those ads on there. This is sent in by Survival Empire. He did not want anything for this. So this is a Latvian field ration menu 3. Just going to get that out of the way. I had a power bank sitting there to kind of prop it up because of the way the bag is shaped. This is a gusseted bag. It is a Ziploc. It has a tear notch across the top. Let's see how well that works in opening the bag. Doesn't work well. I'll just get the cheaters and cut it. But this is a Ziploc bag. Yep, I'm going to get the cheaters. Maybe that should be enough to get it going. There we go. Sorry about that. This is not a Mylar bag like the previous Latvian ration I did. This is a different plastic bag. I'm going to start pulling things out. Got the bread, rye bread, but it's a different shape. It's more of a squared bread. And vacuum sealed 2 pieces. I love the Latvian bread. Here is the FRH. It's a lot wider than a US FRH. This is about the same size as the British or the Russian ones. So, in order to accommodate a wide retort pouch, and the FRH just dropped to the floor. That's going off to the side because I'm not using it anyway. There's an info sheet on all this stuff, kind of a funky camo design there, but it's all in Latvian. Don't need that. Here is an accessory kit in a Ziploc bag. Looks like part of that bag got messed up, but we'll get into that. A thick chocolate bar. Can't go wrong with European chocolate bars. This is a little tub of honey. Roasted beans, so some kind of a bean. It looks like chickpeas because they're rounded like chickpeas. And we have raisins. Similar pack as the chickpeas. And then the main event is this bag here. Look how wide that is. It says main course. It is a gusseted bag. This is a 380 gram bag, and this cool stuff on the back. This was packed last year, and the best buy date on this is 2029. So I guess I can call this a 2025 ration. I'm going to set that off to the side so I can take it into the kitchen. And I'll open up this Ziploc bag. Similar style as what you would get in Norwegian rations. Has a little hang hole. So inside here have a wooden spoon, which I will not use. I have a Ziploc bag with wooden spoons, and I have some wooden forks. This will go into that bag. It says wet wipe, so I don't know if this is one wipe or two. I have a Lloyd brand black tea. We have a hand sanitizer, kind of like a Purell. There, you can see there's a line here where you bend this until it breaks and you release the hand sanitizer under your hand. Got 3 Nescafe instant coffees. So I will have 1, and the other 2 I will save for later. And we have this huge packet of sugar, which I am not going to open up. Actually, I may change my mind on the coffee. I may save these, and I will have a G7. I'm feeling like a G7 tonight. So I'm going to save this tea for another time. I'm going to put all these things that I'm not going to use in the bag. I'm even going to save the honey. I'm using my germs MRE mug tonight because I have a few channel mugs that can rotate between, so I can mix it up. There's no cold drink here, so I have one ready. Let's see, we got waffles here, Emphols, the Carlos Perry's here. Thanks for dropping in. I am going to have, this is a stick, U.S. Emery stick orange drink. These are intended to go in like 500 mil up to, basically a half, like a pint. That'd be a little over a pint of water. My drinking jar holds up to 13 ounces. I like these a little stronger anyway. These are the sugar-free ones. I'm going to stop it there. Because these are not sugar-based, they don't take as long to mix up and they dissolve much quicker. I will add a touch more water to that. There's a little bit that didn't quite dissolve, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this thing in my pot. These are almost too big for the pot that I use, but that's okay. The lid can just kind of sit on top. And I will bring back the kettle for the coffee. I am back. I just put the kettle back in the kitchen. I'm just looking at the chat, see what everybody's talking about. Oh, speaking of Spam, there is a new flavor that apparently has come out. I saw it once on someone's channel, but I cannot remember what it is. I'm opening up the bread. I cut my own notch in this because I could not find one. Oh, that smells so good. I love the smell of this rye bread. And they really vacuum seal this thing good. Carefully work the slices apart. I don't want to break them. Looks like I'm going to end up with a holy slice. That's the way it goes. Tasting the crumbs, that is good bread. This chocolate bar got busted. And it has bloomed. And it has bloomed all the way through. You can put that up like that. I think that, yeah, I think the Japanese might be the new flavor. But I don't eat the pork Spam. I only get the turkey. This raisin packet had a tear notch and a couple of them almost escaped. These are all nice and loose. They look like cranberries. Oh, raisins and cranberries. There we go. So it is a mix of raisins and cranberries. So you get kind of that sweet tart combo going on. Yeah, it could have been some heat stress. There's a tear notch here on these roasted beans. They look like chickpeas. Oop. No, it says fava beans. They're the small favas. There are a few different sizes of fava beans out there. So it kind of looks like a white kidney bean. But there are small fava beans, and then there are large fava beans that are about the size of two of these chocolate segments. Yeah, it kind of does, but the school erasers I saw back in the day were pink, blue, or gray. Gonna give my drink another mix. Yeah, that's about the strength that I like this. Oh, yes, they were. If you get the chocolate covered espresso beans, those are the best. I don't know if I can work this little piece off of here, but it's just going to come off in crumbs. Yep, crap. It fell down, but it landed on, get that fuzz off of there. Yeah, speaking of coffee beans, one coffee shop here in Des Moines, if you get a certain type of coffee drink, like a mocha, what they will do is they will put a chocolate covered coffee bean on your cup if you get one of those carry-out cups. You know, the paper cup with the plastic lid that has a drink hole in it. They will put a chocolate covered coffee bean on top of that. And I think they do that for certain other flavored coffees, depending on what it is. They may put a different kind of a bean on the cup. Spicy Tuna Rolls is here. Thanks for dropping in. Even though I almost botched the top of this bag, I am going to keep it because this is a good sturdy Ziploc bag. This has a Best Buy of 2028, but the main had a Best Buy of 29, but that doesn't mean squat because I'm going to eat it. In fact, I'm going to go get it out of the pot. I am back. See this gust at the bottoms? It stands up on its own. Oops. Go ahead and dry this thing off. I got a paper towel. Make sure the inside of the gusset is dry so I'm not dripping. These look like these could almost be retail pouches that you would get in the store based on the design that's on the back side of this. See how this tear notch works. Well, not quite. Rip it from the other side, see how this one goes. Sometimes these work. You can rip it all the way across, sometimes not. So I just get a couple fingers in there and separate it. Okay, here comes Latvian goulash. It is so much thicker than the American version. If you remember last week I had the USMRE goulash. This is thick. And it looks like it has a lot more real ingredients in it. In fact, I'm gonna look at the ingredients if I can got English. Let's see. Well, that's storage instructions. No, it only has the ingredients in Latvian. Right, let's see it. Actually, the front. Water. It says beef ham, which is a cut of beef. Salt, black pepper, buckwheat. That is the grain. It's got mushrooms in it. Tomato paste, it's got canola or rapeseed oil, onions, it's got wheat flour, a bunch of other stuff. Got parsley, bay leaf, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it that is in this goulash. Well, that is the barley, and there's a little chunk of the beef with it. It's really good. It's not quite as tangy as the American goulash. It tastes like something you would get out of just a local's kitchen. Yeah, 380 grams. But for a Latvian soldier in the field, this would give him or her everything they needed. The beef is pulled, not all that heavily processed. There's a nice chunk of beef there. Yeah, but you would enjoy every bit of it. This is right up there with the Polish goulash. I think the heat is heat from the goulash being open hit on that chocolate, but that's okay, I'll move it. I haven't gotten into mushroom yet, but the mushrooms may be really small. This is good stuff. The barley is tender, but it's not overly mushed. Yeah, there are drawbacks to all of that, no doubt. Just like those drugs that a lot of people are using. Some are using it because they are diabetic. Some are using it as a weight loss drug. But from people that, other YouTubers who have started it, they have described some of the experiences they've had with it. One says she definitely has to up her protein intake. But I am not interested in using that myself because I just don't want to take the risk of those side effects. Yeah, it will take your body some time to get used to it. Just like starting any strong medicine. Yeah. And now some are available in a pill form. Ozempic is now available in pill form, and Wegovy is available in pill form. To the Manjaro or Zepbound, I don't know about those, but you take those every day as opposed to the weekly injections. At least I think that's how, according to the advertisements for these pill versions. Yeah. I'm going to try some of these beans. They look like they've been coated with something. They're roasted and candied. So they have a sugar coating on them, so they're sweet. In fact, here is a fava that broke in half. So these give you some sugar energy as well as the fiber and protein. You know, that's a heck of a hike. I have never done any long hikes like that. I've only done a short hike with a couple other YouTubers a few years ago, and the trail had not been maintained, so we were walking through chest-high grass and weeds. And I'll tell you, we collected the ticks like you wouldn't believe. We went to a hiking campsite where we stopped to have lunch. And we did a little food experimentation. And all that is in our videos. But that was probably like 5-6 years ago, maybe. If not more. I don't remember how. I would have to dig way back into my video archive for that. That hike with Tack of AOK Foraging and Adventures and Robin of Redbird 491. But although it was hard walking through all those thick weeds that had not been cut down, and we were pulling dozens of ticks off of ourselves, but it was still fun. And some people have a hard time with that. I know a person who was going to have the gastric bypass, where they actually remove part of the stomach instead of just put a band around it. This person thought that immediately after the surgery you would be slim, but that's obviously false, because that just does not happen. This person wanted that instant gratification. That's not possible with that type of surgery. And this person did not want to do those things that the surgeon would require you to do prior to having that surgery, so she never did it. This bread is shiny. This is the side that faced out in the package, and this is the underside where it was stuck to this one. I would prefer this bread with butter on it, or just straight up like this. But I gotta keep going back to this goulash. This stuff is so good. This is right up there with that last Polish goulash that I had. But this being a bit fresher, actually I think this stuff would be good if it had sat a couple of more years in the pouch. I'm going to grab a handful of the raisins and cranberries. Raisins are a little bit smaller than some of the cranberry pieces. See, they're a little bit darker. Natural tasting. They don't have that feeling of an oily stuff like you might get on some raisins or cranberries from U.S. rations, especially the osmotic ones. I cannot stand those. My crusher in the house. What's up? Latvian Ration, Menu 3, beef goulash. This has buckwheat. It's got bay leaf, it's got parsley, it's got mushroom, it's got tomato. The beef is nicely, it's shredded or pulled, not heavily processed. It doesn't have the tang that the American goulash does. The flavor almost reminds me of the goulash we had at my school, but we had noodles, like elbow macaroni in it instead of barley or rice or buckwheat or some other, the whole wheat like you might find in some of these. But of course this is 20 times better than that. Got roasted fava beans, but they were candied. They have a sugar coating, so they're a bit sweet. They're the small fava beans. And then got a mix of cranberries and raisins. This chocolate is heavily bloomed, but it's still a good dark chocolate. I thought this was broken, but it was actually 2 pieces. So it is nice and dark on the inside, which is good. The goulash was packed last year, so this is a very fresh ration. So when I go to edit the title after the stream ends, I am going to put a 2025. I'll put that year on here because I was not sure, given that the best buy date is 2028. December 6th of 28 is the best buy date on this bag. But the entree had a best buy date of 29. Speaking of smoking things, I have a stovetop or grill top smoker that is about as long as this part of my tray without this part, and maybe about as wide as, say, from here to here. It's about 3 inches deep, but I have only used it once. But I still have wood chips for it. I have not used it because I have not wanted to have any fires outside on my deck, even though I would do it on my metal table. And I got some metal pieces that I would use to kind of sort of disguise what I'm doing. I don't want to do it on my stovetop because I don't want to set off the smoke detector. But that little smoker is a great thing to have because it's a perfect size for 1 or 2 people. Say, smoke a piece of salmon or a steak or a piece of chicken, or smoke some veggies. And you could do it over a campfire with a grill on top, a grill grate on top of your fire pit. I do have a small collapsible grill that I could put it on. But that is one way that I can cook outside, you know, after or during an SHTF scenario. But I would do that if other people were grilling outside. But if no one else is doing it, then I would not do that, because I would not want to draw attention to myself. And Tim Riley is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Oh, this Latvian goulash, way better than the US version. It's thick like I like it. It's got barley in it. It's got good seasoning. I wouldn't want to add anything to it. I'm going to enjoy every bit of this. I like the texture of the meat. I think there's a bit of mushroom. Yep, I got a bit of mushroom in that bite. I had a hard time splitting the rye bread apart, so this piece ended up a bit holy. That's okay. This is good bread. I like this. Thanks for dropping in, Mike. And this ration did not come with a cold drink, so I did pull one just in case. The US Samurai orange drink, that's the stick. The stick packet like you would put in your average 500 ml water bottle. Which I could have put it in here, but I chose to use my drinking jar. I like mixing these drinks a little bit strong. So that's what I did. Yeah, that's a good one, DeCarlos. That's a good one. Although for me, the main worship day is Friday. That's when I go to the mosque for Friday prayer. And we serve lunch after that. It's the same meal every time. It's easy to cook in quantity. It's mix of basmati rice and seasoned ground beef, halal certified ground beef, with mixed veggies and seasonings and tomato paste mixed in. And then that is combined with the rice, which in itself is seasoned. I just call it our version of dirty rice. And when we resumed serving the lunches after the big nasty time, it was decided that we would just put it into full meal-sized carryouts that you might get from a restaurant. Throw a spoon in it, and then we stack those, and then people will come down to the community room. Most will take them to go because they're heading back to work. And if they're doing summer school, say at the college, then they could take it and go back to their school. A few will eat it there, but by putting it in the carryouts, we make it easy for those that have to immediately take off. And so we've been doing it that way. We go through probably 100 carryouts every week, and we get them by packs of 125. Yeah, it's very good. It's filling. Like I said, it's an easy meal to prepare in quantity. We used to cook it in our kitchen, but when we had to have some work done, we haven't used the kitchen much as far as cooking, except for a special meal. If maybe one thing has to be cooked, or someone wants to make a big pot of hot tea to serve everybody, and we've had some plumbing issues. But it's still a very easy meal to do, and a local restaurant does it. So one of our guys goes to the restaurant, picks it up in big plastic tubs, like the busing tubs. They use a couple of those, and you can get lids for them. So they just slap a lid on them, bring them to the mosque, and then you put a couple spoonfuls of it in each carryout, throw a spoon in it, close it, stack it. And then when the prayer is done, people will come down to the community room and get it. And sometimes every single one gets handed out, and I don't hold one back for myself. I wait till everyone has had a chance to get it, and if there happens to be one left and everybody's gone, then I'll take that one and eat it. But sometimes I go without, and I'm okay with that. It's not the southern style dirty rice, but I call it dirty rice because it has the meat and the veggies mixed in. And with the kids being out of school, They get to come and have a nice lunch. We also provide water bottles for people to take with them. As well as to drink. So people will listen to the sermon and they can drink their water during that and just then they do the actual prayer itself and then that's it, and people get their lunches and they're on their way. So maybe a half hour tops. One of the Dart bus drivers attends my mosque, so I see him pretty frequently. But he usually takes off. He doesn't take a lunch. He comes to the Friday prayer and then he hauls tail right back to either the Dart station or the garage to resume driving his route. But when he's off work and we have an event, he will help out, setting up the community room. Sometimes he may even provide a food or a drink that he makes himself. I'm gonna have some more of these candied fava beans. These are really good. Both of these would be a good pocket snack for on the go. I might try a few of these. With a few of the cranberries and raisins, see how they are together. That's a good combo. Putting these two together would make a good trail mix. So this is the first time I've ever had these roasted beans with the sweet treatment. I've only had them savory, where they're roasted like cashews or peanuts. I've had the roasted chickpeas before. Those are really good. Got Wilcox in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So this is round 2 of the goulash comparison. This is Latvian. Menu 3. The very fresh ration. This is packed last year. This has barley in it. It's got bay leaf. It's got parsley in it, mushroom, tomato, onions and garlic, and not a whole lot else. And very well, very nicely processed beef. It's pulled. It's not overly processed. You can get the real texture of the meat. This ration came with 3 instant coffees, but I opted for my G7 because I wasn't sure if this was going to have coffee in it. These do not come with creamer, and this is a packet of sugar. It's huge. It's the same, almost the same size as either of these or the rye bread. And it has a wooden spoon. In fact, I will open up that. Let's see what this wooden spoon looks like. So it comes in a paper packet like this. Easy to rip open. It's kind of a flat spoon, not very deep. This is almost as wide as a tongue depressor stick. Other reviewers who have used these say it affects the taste of the food. But I have a Ziploc bag with wooden spoons. This will go into that. I also have acquired a few wooden forks. So I will save those for a situation where I need a utensil, but I do not want to just toss it if I don't have a place I can dispose of some trash. If I can burn as much of it, then I could burn that spoon when I'm done with it. If I need a kindling for a fire, I could use that spoon. After I eat with it, of course, but I will hold on to that. But this goulash, it does not have the tang that the American emery goulash has, and I do like that. That is one of my favorite U.S. emery menus. But these Europeans, they know how to do it right. Not too many preservatives. This is probably closer to authentic goulash. I like the texture of and the flavor of the buckwheat in it. This was 380 grams. But this is all awesome stuff. This is right up there with the Polish goulash, maybe better. Of course, it's been a while since I last had a Polish goulash. I was hoping to get one of those, but I couldn't find one that was already in the U.S. But Survival Empire, he had this Latvian one. He offered to send it to me without anything in return. I give him a big shout out. I was hoping that maybe he could come into the stream, but he probably will catch it on the replay. And this one did not come with a cold drink option, but I had this orange drink I pulled it out just in case I might need one. I like sugar and creamer in my coffee, and this one only came with the sugar, but I didn't want to bust open that big pack. That one is going into my ration component stash. But this rye bread, this has a different shape than the last rye bread I had. As you can see, it's more squared. But it was a bit of a struggle to separate the slices because of how tightly it was vacuum sealed. Accessory pack had honey in it. Oops. This is honey. I'm going to hold on to this. So this is 20 grams. This has a barcode like you could go into any grocery store and buy this. I don't know if that's how it's sold that way in Latvia. And there's a date on the back of here, 2029. But we all know that properly stored honey can last pretty much forever if the container is not compromised. This also came with a wet wipe and a little hand sanitizer card, like the little Purell single use, where you bend the hard plastic until it breaks and the bubble releases the hand sanitizer under your hand. That is one of those. So I have a few of those in my stash, and that one will go with it. This is the FRH that came out of the ration. And it looks like the element could be, I don't know if this is just vacuum sealed or if the element is fixed in place. I think the element may be fixed in place, and you just like any FRH, you put water in it up to the line. This one has a piece of tape, but we all know what happens to those sometimes. When some of these kick off, just drop the paper towel I used to dry the goulash pouch off with. But those tapes almost always pop. But this will go into my stash of heater bags. And that will be one way I can heat up food in a discreet way. If I had a little can, I could put a can of soup in that bag, or wrap the FRH bag around the can and heat that up. Or if I had a retort pouch, I could throw it in there, heat that up, and not create any odor, and still get something at least warm. Thanks for dropping in, Waffles. By the way, he has got some very unique rations that he's somehow gotten a hold of. And he's got more to come. He is counting the number of countries that he gets rations from. I think it's up like 30 some, I don't remember, but he does his reviews in a completely different way, which is kind of cool. Just for the heck of it, before I demolish all of this, I'm losing it off of there. That didn't quite work out as well as I thought, but it's not bad. I think the tanginess of the rye bread kind of overpowers the taste of the goulash. Yeah, keeping them separate is the way to go. I'm going to have another bite of this chocolate. I got a bit of a lag. It's probably about a 10-second lag maybe between 5 and 10 seconds between my phone and my tablet. I hope that's not bothering you. I hope the feed is coming through okay. Also, speaking of waffles, I wouldn't mind having one of his stickers. I'd love to have one of his channel stickers. And I should ask Survival Empire if he has a couple of mugs or coffee cups and a pint glass with his channel logo on it. I'm kind of curious if he just put stickers on them himself or if a merch company did that. Like Germs MRE, a company did his, just like Mike Pressure and Foreign MRE. Of course, I got the Ration Kitty mug. The cat's on there, why not? Yeah, I like mixing. I'm just going to throw these together. A few more. The raisins, the cranberries, they go good with these candied fava beans. That would be a good trail snack. And this is what the bread that faced the plastic looked like when it was vacuum sealed. There's Average Joe from north of the border. Thanks for dropping in. This is a 2025 Latvian field ration. And like the previous Latvian ration I had, this is not a Mylar bag, but it's a gusseted plastic Ziploc. Yeah. I'm going to hold on to this bag because these bags have so many uses. So last week I had an American emery goulash. That is one of my favorite U.S. emery menus. But these European goulashes, I wanted to do a direct comparison between the American and a Polish, since I've had the Polish goulash before, but because I could not get a hold of one, Survival Empire stepped up and said he had a Latvian. And he offered to send it to me without anything in return. I said, oh, heck yeah. So when he put up a video today, or I think it might have been a video he did yesterday and I watched it today, I dropped a comment saying that I would be doing this one. I was hoping that he would show up, come into the chat, but maybe his schedule's not allowing that. But I hope he catches the replay and sees me enjoying this one, because this is a good one. I would definitely recommend this menu if you can get a hold of it. The candied fava beans with the cranberries and raisins, that's a good mix. This is a famous rye bread, stuck together. It is hard splitting them apart without breaking them, but I don't care. I love this bread. Yeah, if you combine a tushonka with kasha, that would definitely fill you up. But I haven't had one of those haven't had any of those in quite some time. I think the last tushonka I had was actually lamb. Delicious sent it to me, along with a cabbage. It was from a group ration, so the cabbage was in a pretty good sized can, about the size of those larger pasta sauce or pizza sauce cans, or maybe a medium-sized pasta sauce jar, but a can. And then what I ended up doing was I combined that cabbage with that lamb tushonka. Oh boy, was that good. And he had also sent me some of his homemade beef jerky, but I could not wait to open that one up on camera. I opened that bag and I devoured that jerky. Just like I devoured the last bit of that goulash. Yeah, this chocolate was bloomed, but It's still very good chocolate because it's still nice and dark inside. Otherwise, it's a good quality European dark chocolate. And my cat has decided to come in. I can slide my tray over, maybe you can see her. Hey, Pumpkin. Pumpkin kitty. But she likes to go underneath my chair. Come here, Pumpkin. Pumpkin kitty. Everybody wants to see the kitty. Everybody wants to see the tortie girl. Pumpkin. Nope, I think my image is froze. I'm seeing Pumpkin on my phone. I stood up to look at that. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a huge delay. That is a huge lag. She likes to walk underneath my chair back and forth when she's in here. And she's a bit of a talker. So I hope you got to see her. Yep, that's the tortie girl. Oh, that lamb tushonka was awesome. Like I said, he got it from a group ration, probably similar to a USUGR, where you get or some of the larger group rations where some of the food comes in larger cans as opposed to the retort trays, or it could be a mix. I'm going to pull this back here. But yeah, Steve 1989 opened up an Israeli group ration that had a whole mess of cans. Some of them larger, some of them smaller, depending on the food. But yeah, the cabbage came in one of those larger cans, and the tushonka can was probably about the size of, say, a Progresso soup can. But putting those two together, I forget what the actual name of the cabbage dish was, but putting that and the lamb tushonka together, that was awesome. Yep, Pumpkin has moved off elsewhere. Yeah, I will bring out the delicious mug every once in a while. Yeah, I might have to do that because I have seen them on eBay, but the prices look ridiculous, especially for the shipping. So I may look into that because that's another good way to get some shelf-stable meat into your pantry or your longer term food storage. So that gives me an idea that I might actually go after in the near future. Of course, at the end of this, the last week of this month, I'm going to Lake Icaria with my family, and so my shopping for this month partially focused on that. All of those meats that I picked up, not all of them will go to the lake. Some will stay here, but definitely the beef, bacon, the Myanmar breakfast beef that's made right here in Iowa, that goes with me every year. And the beef sausage, I got both the patties and the links this time, so I'm not sure which one of those I'll take, or I may take both. And I got the Myanmar halal beef hot dogs. You can also get chicken and turkey hot dogs, plus they do hot links. It's like a ballpark Frank size hot dog, but it's spicy. And those are pretty good. I like those. Now, it sounds like it's pretty expensive, but probably compared to the larger cans of Keystone meats, I don't know if they're the same size. I will definitely be checking into that. Maybe at first just to look. I might throw a few cans in one of my Amazon lists. I have several that I keep running. I used to try to separate items, but then, screw it. It keeps me from having such a super long list that I break it up into 3, and then I can just pick. I'll put it in this one, or I might put this thing in that one. That's kind of how I do it. It's not organized like they probably should be, but I will look at the Tashankas on Amazon. Is that like, are they similar to the sausages that are in the all-day breakfast? Or is it just like someone put hot dogs in a jar and canned them? Now that one's got me curious. That's pumpkin again. She's walking back and forth behind me. Yeah, canned hot dogs. I know the woman who has a channel, Disabled in Prepping, she uses an Instant Pot Max that she can put 4 pint jars in. You can actually pressure can in that. Mine's the Pot Duo. I can't do that. It would actually be nice if I could, but This Instant Pot was given to me when my older nephew upgraded to the Max. So I got this one from him. But yeah, she can put 4 pints in her Instant Pot Max. She has gotten a Johnsonville brats. And I think what she does is cut them in half, then cans them, and she's done other sausages that way. I think she's canned hot dogs as well. But because she is disabled and uses a power chair, where she is at, she doesn't drive a vehicle. She only drives her power chair. So during the winter months, she really can't get out a whole lot. So she builds up her food storage during the warmer months, and during the colder months she gets deliveries, so she doesn't have to go outside to get it. The driver can be let into her apartment building, so she gets deliveries. But she cans meats in her Instant Pot Max, and that's how she puts up shelf-stable meat for the winter. I have never had pickled hot dogs. I think they'd be interesting. A whole lot different than going to the Iowa State Fair and just getting a hot dog on a stick. I haven't decided if I'm going to go to the state fair. I have not done that since I think 2018 or 2019, when my sisters and I, my mom, and my great niece went to the fair, and we hit up some of those places that middle school age kids would, or maybe elementary age kids would be interested in, where the animals are. We went to where the smaller animals are, like they had a petting zoo set up with a bunch of different animals that you could get up close to. But I haven't been to the state fair since. I haven't decided if I'm going to go this year. And look for some of the 82 new foods that are supposed to be offered. There may be online recipes for the pickled hot dogs. And if you find them, they may tell you which type is best, whether you would like cook them first or would the pickling process take care of that. There's still some powder left on the bottom of my drink. Usually these artificial sweetened drinks don't drop residue like this one. Then again, I've had it for quite some time. I think, speaking of tractor pulls, I think there's supposed to be a tractor pull at the fair this year. But because you're not in Iowa, Wilcox, that might be a bit of a stretch for you to get over here. Unless you blocked out the time. And you decided how you're going to get here. You might have to find one closer. Yeah, me too. I enjoyed wandering around, just looking for unique things. What I think would be cool is if we could pull it off, and if we had the money to do it, because you have to pay a pretty hefty fee to become a food vendor at the fair, and you'd have to be willing to run the entire length of the fair. If we the White Eagle Powwow Committee could get organized for fry bread and other indigenous foods, but that would be a bit of a stretch. I don't think we could pull that off. Pumpkin is sitting on one of my buckets meowing. She can meow pretty loud, but our resident fry bread cook, she set up a stand in Woodward where I helped out with them last year, but we got smacked by a sudden downpour thunderstorm that pretty much put the squash on all of us vendors. And we were literally standing in 2 inches of water. And so we just got soaked. And the wind was driving the rain underneath our canopy, so it was interfering with our propane stove and the generator that we were using to keep a crock pot warm that we had the taco meat in, that we put on the fry bread to make the fry bread tacos. Yeah, that was a hot mess. like all the other vendors that day, we just had to hang it up. Just pack up and get on out of there. And we looked like wet dogs. And we felt like it. But this year, I did not help them with that. But they were more successful. They didn't get dumped on with rain. But we are going to set up a booth at an event next month. I'm not sure what all we're going to do, but we will be able to do more than what we could do at the art festival. But we will be back at the art festival next year. But the art festival leadership wants us to come back. So yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, I can imagine. So, and you'd have to have a pretty big starting budget to do that, and to do it as a non-profit, because we are an official non-profit. We are a 501c3. So I'm not sure how that would work with a nonprofit, setting up a food booth or parking a food truck. But we did have to get special insurance, but that will last us an entire year. And it really wasn't very expensive. And we are actually getting a donation from the art festival, because that's what they do for nonprofits who set up booth in the art festival in their nonprofits section. We were in what they call the creative zone, where there are hands-on craft activities that were geared towards kids. So we had a bunch of little teepee kits that were printed on cardstock. And one of our guys downloaded the pattern and printed them out on his own printer, so we did not have to buy them. We just got the pattern, downloaded them. He got little 4 packs of crayons, a bulk pack of those. We would drop an info card, the pattern, the crayon packet in a gallon Ziploc bag, and we gave out over 500 of those, and some kids did them right there at our booth. And we gave out over 1,000 of the info cards during the art festival weekend. Wilcox, you might like one racetrack that we have here in Iowa, in the town of Knoxville. It's called the Knoxville Raceway, and it is a sprint car track, but I think they do have races with other classes of vehicles besides the sprint cars with those funny looking wings on the sides. our fairgrounds does have a dirt track. And many years ago, when I first started, living in Des Moines, 80, I came back to Iowa at the very end of December of 87. So pretty much 88 on. I used to go to the fairgrounds where they had harness races. So I didn't call them jockeys, but the drivers would sit on these little carts called sulkies. And then they would race around the track with the one horse pulling the sulky around. And people could bet on those races. That ended quite a few years ago. But that track is still there. 12 bucks to get into that race is a lot less expensive than our state fair tickets. I think they're like $16 or $17 just for a general admission ticket. Yeah, Pumpkin is back to my left again. What you doing, Pumpkin? What's on your little kitty mind, Pumpkin? Now she's underneath me. What's on your little kitty mind, Pumpkin? Hmm? Now I only worked at the fair twice. The first time I was when they had the trams, which have since been taken away. They don't. A tram company has not brought them back for a few years, but they were like 3 or 4 section or segment trams that were articulated. So that would be easier for these long things to go around tighter corners, much like the articulated buses we used to have, or the double bottom semis. But they needed what they call a conductor in each of the segments, and you did not have to be a licensed driver in order to do that, so I did that one year. And that was a direct employee of the fair, so I got to wear an official state fair shirt, which I had to turn in afterwards, but I didn't mind that. And then the second time, I got hired by a janitor crew, but that didn't last long because apparently if you asked to when your break was, they kicked you. So that didn't last very long. So those are the only 2 times I had worked at the fair. But the tram crew, I worked every day but one. One day it was raining so bad that the trams could not run on the parking lots, which are only partial. They're mostly grass, and they did not run very well on mud. It was like 2002 and 2003. 2002, I was on the tram crew. 2003, short-lived. I was posted up in one of the bathrooms. And that I pretty much stayed in that particular one. And then when I asked the supervisor when my break was, I was fired. Oh, huh. I guess, dang, I didn't realize the track was gone. That's how long it's been since I've been to the fairgrounds. And I have not been to any of, I don't go to the concerts. Because that's just not, I'm just not into that. Yeah, maybe Monster Mayhem. Maybe that's what they call it. I have never attended anything like that. I have never attended any, the only time I've ever actually attended any vehicle races was when we used to have the Des Moines Grand Prix. And I was living in one of the downtown apartment buildings that was literally inside the race course, and you had to have this pin on in order to be allowed to go even through the skywalk, which is connected to where my apartment building was. I could get access through the skywalk, but if you did not have one of these badges, they would not even let you go back to your apartment if you need, even if you showed your ID or driver's license to prove that you lived there. But that only lasted a few years, and that was a fizzle. So we did not have to buy a ticket to watch any of those races. We could just, depending on where you're at in one of the downtown buildings, you could just look out a window or stand in the skywalk and watch them. So that's pretty much what we did. And one of my boxes of stuff I have buried underneath other stuff in my bedroom closet, I still have a couple of those Des Moines Grand Prix access badges that downtown residents had to have. I still have a couple of those. why I'm going after all this goodness, so I can't let this go to waste. Yeah. One of my second cousins, she and her husband they live in a smaller town in Iowa where they do have stock car races, and so they're both into that. I'm not sure which one drives or which one is in the pit crew, or they're both part of the pit crew. I'm not sure how that's going on with them, but they post pictures and short clips of the races they're involved in. Oh, wow. I was only 6 years old in 72. So I was either still here in Iowa, or my family had moved back to Nebraska, and I went to school in Nebraska from 72 to 76. I lived in Fremont, Nebraska for that time. And we actually moved around in Fremont. We lived in like 2 or 3 different houses. For whatever reason, my parents would move us around while still staying in the same town. And then when in 76 we came to Iowa, and we lived in the town of Adair for a while, and then we moved to Casey, and then the YMCA camp outside of Boone during my high school years. And then when that time ended, we did rent another house in Boone itself for a while. And then about a month and a half before I finished high school, my parents got work down in Arkansas. So they took my brother down there. I stayed here to finish high school because I did not want to go down there and having my credits from up here not jive with the credits down there, and possibly risk having to take a whole nother year of school because of that credit mismatch. For just, a month and a half, I did not want to bother with that, so I stayed up here. And 2 of my sisters who were living together, so I stayed with them. As they had already graduated from high school and were working. So it was just easier for me to do that. And then my parents and my brother came up for my high school graduation, and then I went down to Arkansas. And it's down there that I went to University of Central Arkansas, and during that time I got to go to Mexico for a month back in '86. Thanks for dropping in, Tim. Now, despite that bloom, that chocolate is still good. And it's a good combination with our coffee. Yeah, chocolate and coffee, that's a good thing. And chocolate and orange is a good thing. So the last Sunday in July, I will not be live. So next week, I will go back to a single meal. I am seriously thinking about busting out that corned beef hash brown bag. That Art Nina sent me, along with halal beef barley stew MRE. It was the second one of those I had. I don't need to review that. I did that once. So I just broke that one up and I took the snacks out of it to the art festival and I munched on those. Along with those s'mores, I busted into both of those s'mores that I had, and I took some of the snacks out of those. So I ate some of those throughout the day at the art festival. But this event in August is only a one-day thing, and I think we're only going to be there for a few hours. So, depending on the time of it, I just may only need to have a water bottle or two, or maybe mix up an electrolyte drink. There's a Sunday, you know, the last day of the art festival when it was hot and humid. I mixed up an electrolyte drink in this bottle and in my pink bottle, and I added an US Emery lemonade, the stick, like I opened up tonight, but it was the lemonade. I added about half of that packet to each of my bottles. Actually, maybe a little bit more to the pink bottle because that one holds more. But just to add a little bit more flavor, even though the lemon lime body armor, I do like that one. But I just added that lemonade just for a little bit more flavor. And plus I had in one of those unwell drinks, like I showed in my haul, but a different flavor. So I drank the two that I mixed right there, and then I started drinking the Unwell. But when I left, I still had some left, so I was drinking it while I was waiting for buses. But when I was doing my shopping, I did not see the lemon lime body armor mixes, so I got the other three flavors. And I intend to share them with my family in case, because we're going to be out in the sun, we'll be fishing, and it might be pretty hot sitting out there. So I want to have some of those to share. Plus, I have the liquid IV. I've already taken them out of the box and put them in a Ziploc bag. I may take those too. I haven't decided yet. I just may take all of those packets out of their boxes and put them into a single bag, or maybe like a plastic container. I haven't decided how I'm going to pack those yet, but I'm already working on packing. I've got all my my snacks in one bag that I plan on taking. That little bottle of honey I'm taking with me because my mom and I will share it. And if anybody else wants some, they can use it as well. So the only thing I will have to pack will be the day of, is unless one of my sisters decides that she wants to get my cold food and just put it with hers. May do it that way. I don't know how that's going to work yet, but still got a little while to think about that. But I'm already working on packing some stuff in that suitcase and that tote bag that came with it. I'm experimenting with organizing stuff in there. Plus I will have my takedown fishing pole in my rod bag. There's Pumpkin. You might be able to have seen her just trying to look up over the top of my table. I don't know how well you can hear, but she's a talker. Aren't you, Pumpkin? Aren't you, Pumpkin? You like talking? You like hearing yourself? You like hearing yourself talk, Pumpkin? And she likes to walk back and forth underneath my chair. Don't you, Pumpkin? I've given her a rub in between her shoulder blades. She likes that. Sometimes that gets her kitty motor going. Isn't that right, Pumpkin? You got a kitty motor in there? What kind of battery you got in there to run the kitty motor outside, Pumpkin? Hmm? What kind of battery you got in there? Pumpkin kitty. My silly little pretty girl. My silly little pretty girl. Sometimes she sleeps through my entire stream. Sometimes she wants to make an appearance. She definitely got interested when I opened up that salmon paella that was in that Chilean DAF ration. Yeah, you were interested in that salmon. But there's stuff in there that's not good for kitties, Pumpkin. So I couldn't give you any. I ate it all myself. Yeah, I moved this to the side in case she wants to make an appearance. You know, you think there's something there on the legs of my table for the kitty, Pumpkin? You think there's something there for the kitty? She was sniffing it and then rubbing on it. And then she puts her front paws up on me and then immediately gets down. Don't you, Pumpkin? You're a silly little toy girl. Thanks for dropping in, Joe. Hope to see you another time. Yeah, Joe has been putting up some cool shorts lately. Yeah, you should go check his latest short out. It's pretty cool. Now she's just rubbing on that table leg. Apparently well, there's a box down the floor in front of my slider. That's her box. I put up a short with her sitting in it, and then she goes out of it. Sometimes I can get her on video for quite some time, and then other times she catches on and nope, I'm out of here. I finished off my orange drink. A little bit of stuff left in the bottom, but at least it doesn't leave that glaring red like the USMRE fruit punch and tropical punch do. Have this last bite of chocolate and then take your drink of the coffee. That chocolate goes well with the G7 3-in-1 coffee. So after I get back from the lake, I have two big rations. The Ukrainian ration that I opened up to do a component spread in one of the ration groups I'm in on Facebook. I did the same with the German EPA. And the other, I had a duplicate of that Ukrainian menu 3. I sent that one to Mike Kresher. So I got one of those big behemoths and traded along with. He packed that box full of stuff to send to me. I packed a box, that same box full of stuff, and sent it back to him. Because he wrapped the box in other paper and left the box blank, I reused it to send stuff back to him, so that worked. So I have both of those 24-hour rations. And I am going to be looking to get additional rations. I have a cheese pizza MRE. And I have a 2019 cheese tortellini. And that ex-MRE pizza, that is a giveaway because that has a pepperoni pizza slice in it. And I may be throwing a few other things in there just for the heck of it. Because I opened that bag and saw that it was a pepperoni pizza because the bag itself only says pizza. So I'm just gonna, I may have thrown a couple things in there already. Pumpkin, no, leave it. I have a box full of mailers. I got a whole bunch of those when I got stuff from Art and Nina because they use those bubble mailers as packing material. And I save every single one of those, and I have used some of them to mail stuff to other people or as packing material myself. But Pumpkin likes to get into those, so I'm going to have to find some other way to... I'm about to find a different box to put them in. I do have another taller empty box, but I will have to see if I can put them in there so she can't get into them. Because I don't want those messed up. But I will be looking for other rations. Now, the guy I got the first Dutch ration and French RCIR, he's a member of the same MRE ration group that I post in every week when I'm putting up my posts about what the Sunday dinner will be. I may get with him to see what he has. But then I've also heard about this guy in another country who has been able to get stuff to the States without items being rated, but not all the time. I'm not sure if I want to take a risk with that, or if I just want to stick to what's in the U.S. already. But I will definitely need some more rations because I don't have too many left. I do have loose components that I can put meals together with. So I could be doing some of that, but I definitely want to get some more rations in. I want some newer MCWs. I would love to get some fresher halal rations. And I wouldn't mind trying out some of the newer Canadian IMPs. But I'll just have to poke around and see what I can find. And this is Germs Amory Ration Kitty. Now that is a cool cat. It almost looks like his cat. So I think this cat was modeled after his. I have looked at halal Amory cases online, and I've seen them for between 125 and 150 per case. And not all of them have free shipping. But they were from about, they're 24s maybe. I'm not sure if there are any newer ones out there. I also want to get the C cars. And I think what would be cool to do is find a first strike ration that has a similar menu to one of the C cars. I don't know how difficult or easy that would be, since there are only 3 C car menus at the moment. I would hope that lineup would be expanded very soon, once they get into wider use, since they are replacing the first strike ration. But it would be nice to get a C car that has a similar menu to a first strike, just to do a direct comparison. I think that would be cool to do. I'd probably have to get a full case of first strikes just to find one that would match one of the C cars, at least sort of. And I'm also hoping to get a hold of a Canadian cornbread. I've been sitting on an American cornbread for a while. I want to do a direct comparison between the American and Canadian cornbreads. And I still plan on sometime doing that comparison between the spice powders in American rations, the hot sauce powder, the picante powder, and I would throw in a packet of the red pepper flake just to make it a little more interesting and fun. I haven't done that yet, but I do want to do that sometime soon. I just haven't done it yet. But who knows, maybe I'll get to that. I may wait till August to do that. I'll just have to see how things go this coming week, because this will be the last full week before the trip. So I'm going to be kind of focused on that, plus what I normally do at the mosque on Thursdays and Fridays. And tomorrow got a White Eagle powwow committee meeting tomorrow evening. So we'll be talking about the August event plus the powwow itself. That's in September. Yeah, Pumpkin was just sniffing at something. She think there's something on the lid of one of my black totes that has a yellow lid. I got two of them stacked. Apparently she thought there was something on one of those lids. Who knows what's on that cat's mind? But I think definitely next Sunday I'm going to pull out that corned beef hash, Emery. I want to see how that one has held up. Because I've opened up a few of those before. Actually, this would be my fourth one. One of them was compromised. I could not eat that, unfortunately, but the other two were perfect, and one of them, even the Red Taster's Choice, was perfect. It was not messed up in any way at all. And you don't get that with those packets too often. But who knows, maybe I'll get lucky again. But that will be up for next week. And I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I wish Survival Empire would have been in this chat, but he'll catch us up later when he's got time. Especially those who have popped in for the first time. Again, I do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time, since I'm here in Iowa, except for those times when I'm not going to be here, or during Ramadan I'm not streaming. And when I know about an event in advance that will cause me to miss my own stream, I post up accordingly. But for those who have come for the first time, I hope you come back. I like seeing people in here I'd not seen in here before. Anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.